talk about something real quick because it's the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame thing. And so the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame issue dropped on Friday, and there were like 7 people entered into it. Some people fell off that I was really sad to see go. Just because they have like historical significance. I can understand why people may or may not know who some of them are, but like I think Big Daddy and Jackie Paolo both fell off the ballot finally. But it's like, Dave said it, it's like they got 15 years though. So the rule is 15 years in is when you become eligible, and then you can be on the ballot for 15 years, and then or a percentage. I'm working on. I am in the phase of figuring out how all of these things are judged because John Muse on the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame episode that we may be talking about for separate reasons coming up with one of our awesome guests that is someone that's a friend of Psyche Media Network. So we've got good guests coming up here, people. Stay tuned. So
go ahead and subscribe while you're here if you haven't already.
Yeah, seriously.
We do. Yeah, we've got some guests that we're working on getting, and they'll probably be within the next.
One is essentially as confirmed as you can get in this whole thing, and one is someone that I think will jump on board this bandwagon that I'm about to start, because 2024 is the year of the Motor City Machine Guns as far as I'm concerned. I think they belong on the ballot. I think that when John Muse brought up the Motor City Machine Guns, and I sent you that clip, he brought them up to Dave, and Dave proceeded to tell him all the reasons why they shouldn't be on the ballot, and then blew up every single argument in the same.
He did. Mel, thankfully, because she told me about it, and I was like, is there any way you can either get me the transcript or get me the audio? And thankfully, she got me the audio, and I just...
He
it was like, it's a 2.5 minute clip, and I had some thoughts. Well, actually, I had some thoughts when Mel told me about it. Then I had some more thoughts after I actually heard what Dave said. So, yeah. So we're going to be talking about that.
So we're going to be talking about that going forward, because essentially, like, you have to educate people on understanding why these people belong in this position. And that's how, like, John Muse, not only, like, they have Ishii on the ballot. John Muse essentially helped make a case for people to go watch and understand.
And go back and check that out, and I missed it. And I heard so many people talking about it, and I'm glad to see that, because Ishii is amazing.
John, and I'm totally poaching his formula for this, because he had the perfect formula for explaining why Ishii was legit. Like, he belonged there. And as reading that, and then hearing his, like, that clip, and thinking about how much you're a fan of them and how much you like, I mean, we talk about them from the constant, and then they're home. I mean, I've seen Alex Shelley, he just shows up to shows and like wrestles. Like, we just had a random Time Splitters like reunion one year.
Motor City is still a very relevant tag team, not just as a tag team. They're just relevant in wrestling in general because of what they're doing as single, and they're both singles champions. They're wrestling outside of Impact. They are wrestling on the indie scene. They are, and it's great because they're heels on the indie scene, which they're fantastic baby faces, but they're really good heels too. And they've been leaning into that more this year. And so, yeah, I have, when she told me about it, I was like, oh, I have lots of things to say just off the top of my head. And I was like,
well, and even it was so funny because you kind of like, even before you heard the clip, had blown up. When I was listening to the clip, because I was clipping it, I was like, Sam blew up all of these things off the top of her head too. So, and then I started just doing some peripheral research, because this is, the thing is like, I'm the numbers nerd and I'm like the history nerd. And I think that that's well established. Not that you don't know history though.
No, I know what you're saying.
But what I'm using you for is, so I'm going to use you because you are such a fan and you know where to point me in the directions of. So when I have questions or I have things like that, I can come to you and you can help guide me in the right direction of the things I need to look at.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because when we first went on, when the United States first went on lockdown, wrestling had stopped and we didn't know, like, what to do. Like we were nobody, wrestling wasn't happening, and so like over at Daily DDT we were talking about, okay, well, how do we get people, like what do we tell people to watch like while they're inside? And so I have an article that I wrote for Daily DDT, and it's best Motor City Machine Guns matches on YouTube.
Oh my God, you have to see, this is what I'm talking about. It's right here. It's a layup. So I'll do the numbers and I'll do the thingies, and you can help right there. and then I'll know what matches, and and I mean, and again, I've seen at least Alex Shelley. I mean, he's shown up to 3 shows. He's wrestled at one show. He wrestled at the GCW show because he wrestled Nick Wayne, which was amazing. And he showed up at an Evolve show that Kushida was on, and because they're actual best friends, like actual besties. I think one of them stood up for the other at their wedding. So I mean, I have pictures, and I'm just lucky because I live in his town, so he shows up to random indies. But that's just something about him in and of itself. Neither one. So I mean, one of the things about the tag team division, like the tag team ballot, is neither one of them, if they're in individually, then they can't also go in as a tag team. Neither one of them are in individually, just on my peripheral first search because the first thing.
Yeah, they're probably not.
They're not. I think they're not on anything that I have seen that's listed from 1996 on.
I don't know that they would get in individually because they are known so much as a tag team, and that is where their bread and butter is. That is where they are.
And thankfully they added a tag team.
Like they were the blueprint for so many, not just tag teams, but just wrestlers in general, especially wrestlers of that size. And so like I would think that they would go in as, I think they would, I don't want to speak for them because I don't know them. I have an inkling that they would probably rather go in as a tag team than individual, just because of how they are. I have it, which again, I don't want to speak for them, but I think that putting them in as a tag team is the correct way to go if they were to get inducted.
Unfortunately, Dave has he's added a tag team thing so that one and not the other are going in. It's like gotcha. He gave an example to Garrett on Friday about Davey Boy and Dynamite Kid are both in separately, so obviously you don't need to do British Bulldogs or whatever. Or did I say Dynamite Kid? I meant God, I'm such a dangling. Or did I get it right? No, that's right. Correct. I'm gonna get corrected because that's like one of my friends' favorite tag teams of all time is the British Bulldogs, and I'm such a dork. But anyway, the point is, But I believe that I think that there is a case for them, and I think it needs to be made. And basically, from what I've been told, is just,
Brad says it right there. And I said the same thing pretty much. I said the same thing to Mel as soon as she told me what his argument was for them to not make it in. And that's exactly what I said, Brad, is that Motor City Machine Guns are just as influential as the Bucks are as far as in-ring work. The Young Bucks are one of the first to say that they were influenced by the Hardys and Motor City.
And the Young Bucks are on the ballot. And they got
I can't see that.
And the
Bucks deserve to be on the ballot for sure. And I'm a
They
Bucks
were on
fan.
The ballot this year. They didn't make it in.
You can't have the Bucks in the Hall of Fame and not put Motor City in the Hall of Fame.
Well, there you go. I mean, but
again, I'll be here. We'll be here for. So yeah, that's a future show that we're going to be looking at because I'm already getting.
I think it's going to be It's not going to be a future show, but more like it's going to be an ongoing deal where I am coming to you and essentially reporting to you on my case and having you update me.